that people were arrested for saying things bad about Bush?
It doesn't matter.
No, do you realize you're not supposed to slander?
I'm not slandering. I asked the question.
But I'm saying to you, you're not supposed to slander. People were arrested for saying derogatory things about Bush.
You would have to say some pretty up to get him to be arrested. Because they cannot take away your right to have your opinion or your freedom of speech. They can't take that away even if unless you threaten the president.
Sweetheart, you know, everybody thinks that when you're arrested, they're supposed to be able to read your rights to you. But they don't read your rights to you every time you're arrested. Did you know that?
I've never been arrested.
But did you know that, though?
No.
Okay.
And welcome back to Hannity. Still with us is former Alaska Governor, Fox News contributor Sarah Palin. Now, that was a North Carolina teacher. First of all, that student is my new hero because he was right on the facts, on the issues. He stayed calm. The teacher got angrier and angrier and then got suspended. But you have kids in school. I have kids in school. And it's like, here's a kid saying, wait a minute, you're saying Romney was a bully from 1965, but there's a tape also of Barack Obama admitting he bullied. Why don't you bring that up? What did you think of that?
Wow. I just hope that this teacher isn't tenured and protected by some big teachers union that will allow her to continue to try to indoctrinate a child, a student, like she just did. That's atrocious. Yes, I have kids in public school. I come from a family full of public school teachers, and this is, it's so foreign to me, the idea of a teacher thinking that they can get away with doing this to a student, and more power to that student for standing up for First Amendment rights.
Yeah. All right, you've been through probably the toughest vetting process of anybody, and you have taken on just so much unfair criticism from the time that you were announced as vice president, and up to today probably. I haven't checked the daily news, but as you know, it's almost a daily occurrence for you. Here's what we know so far. The Washington Post brought up the story of an incident 47 years ago. In 1965, about a haircut and a conflict that Romney did or didn't have in terms of cutting a student's hair. Today, the Washington Post brought up an issue from the mid-1800s about a Mormon massacre and this conflict with Arkansas. They've talked about a war on women repeatedly. Al Sharpton says there's a war on blacks. Howard Dean says that Republicans don't like Latinos. Then, of course, there's a war on the poor, throwing Granny over the cliff. And, and even Mitt Romney hates dogs because he put a dog on a kennel on top of the car. But yet, the Republicans don't seem as willing to fight the same way. I'm a little concerned about it. I don't think the governor needs to do it, but why repudiate people that will fight, fire with fire?
Amen, brother. You're absolutely right, Sean. This phony, hypocritical, one-sided call for a ceasefire by the left and their lapdogs in the media, these leftist politicians saying that's going to be off the table, that's going to be off the table. And then for the Republican operatives who are high-paid consultants to candidates agreeing to take things off the table, that's no battle plan for victory on our side, on common sense constitutionalists' side. It's ridiculous. So a one-sided ceasefire call is not something to agree to. Yeah. Some of these GOP operatives, Sean, they seem to have the fighting instinct of Mr. Snuffleupagus. And if you remember him, he would hide, he would back down, he would run the other direction. That is not what we need in this volatile, very dangerous, and as I have said before, a very confused time in our country. If we want to continue to be exceptional and prosperous and secure and the most generous country in the entire world, then, Sean, we have got to fight tooth and nail, putting everything on the table so we can contrast for the electorate the choice that they have coming up in November. The
general consensus with the Washington class, and by the way, I repeat, the economy, national security, Obama's failed record, that is the top issue. And I'm not even saying Governor Romney should involve himself in any of this. But how about not repudiating people that are going to bring up the full vetting of the president? As I was saying last week, because I was saying I don't want to see anything off the table like you're saying, let's not take things off the table so quick here, because I don't see the Democrats doing that. And the president himself said Republicans want dirty air and water. The president himself said that he wants kids with, the Republicans want kids with autism, Down syndrome, and the elderly fending for themselves. I never heard the president criticizing a Paul Ryan lookalike, woo, granny over the cliff. So if you're laughing, but you know, it's frustrating, the double standard to me.
It's disgusting, the double standard, and I'm really tired of, again, too many in the GOP establishment just kind of kowtowing to what the left will dictate in terms of how this election's going to go. Again, it's not a battle plan for victory, and if we're in it to win it, we have to do all that we can to contrast these choices that we have in November.
All right, last question. It's a two-part question. One, how active do you foresee that you will be in the campaign? And if you had to advise the governor who to be pick for VP, who would you advise him?
I will be very active in helping to vet and throw my endorsement, if they will receive it, for senatorial candidates and those who will represent us in the House of Representatives, because this isn't in November just all about the presidency. This is about who and what we are going to allow a sudden and relentless change to come from, and that is going to be the legislative branch also. So I'll be a strong proponent of constitutional conservatives and help with endorsements in that arena. And I'll do whatever I can, of course, to get anybody but Obama elected to the White House. If I could advise the GOP nominee to choose whomever it would be as a VP candidate, you know, I've said specifically that I really like Alan West. I love people who aren't in politics, like Thomas Sowell. I love people who understand the Constitution and will fight tooth and nail and are willing to put their lives and their families' lives on the line to defend our republic. That is who I want to see as that teammate for the GOP nominee.
Governor, very well said. And I know your throat was bothering you a little bit tonight. I hope you feel better. Lots of tea and Ricola, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you. It's always a privilege.
And coming up next, we continue to do the job that the mainstream suck-up-to-Obama media refuses to do, and we're going to vet the president in our latest edition of The Real Obama. Take a look.
As I often say,